What are your chances of pulling one of the new GDC LRs? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan Battle video. In today's video, we are roughly 2 days away from the release of the tag Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta, and the tag Super Saiyan Rose and Zamasu. Two highly anticipated characters, and of course the first ever global Dokkan campaign. So many people are wondering exactly what is the likelihood you're going to be able to pull one of these units off of their banners. This is usually a video we do once we have the kits and we've done our should you summon. However, due to the timing of the reveals and then the subsequent release of the characters, probably not going to have the time to do that before. But in order to calculate the chances, we don't really need to know what they do, right? Just what is it going to take you to pull at least one of them off their banners. So we did go over what is likely to be their banners based on the previous trends, right? We should expect to see, some major returning players here, such as the 10th anniversary LRs, previous worldwides, as well as potential EZAs and super EZAs, as well as returning carnivals as well. Doesn't really matter for the purposes of this video which is which. All that really matters is the number of characters featured on said banners, which should be which for each banner should be 10 featured units. That's typically what it is for these anniversary banners. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and hop in and check our summon rates here. So shout out to the Dokkan Wiki for this little tool. We like to use this when we make this discussion about our chances. So we know that the banners are likely to be 10 featured units. So that's one of the main things we need to know when using this calculator. This calculator allows us to set up all of our conditions for our summon in order to figure out who is going to be on the banner and what is your likely chance of summoning them. So first thing we need to know is what type of banner it is, right? It is going to be a guaranteed SSR. It will not be a guaranteed featured SSR. It will not be a non-guaranteed SSR. It will be a guaranteed SSR banner. We know that there will be 10 featured SSRs, and in order to figure out the number of unfeatured SSRs, this is actually quite easy. We simply need to navigate over to whatever the most recent banner is and look at the number of featured SSRs here. So the most recent banner is the Tau banner. We can see that including all of the new unfeatured SSRs get on the banner here. We can see that there's 306. Of course, with Tau, there would be one more added, as he did get added the general blue, so we could simply add that number in there. So 306 unfeatured SSRs we're dealing with. Now that number is going to be slightly different on the Carnival banner, and we will address that when we get that. So let's just start with the Dokan Fest banner. So what are your chances of pulling the character on the Dokan Fest banner, whether this ends up being the Tag Blues or the Rose, right? Let's see your chances of pulling. So our percent of featured SSRs is always going to be 5%. Your total percent of unfeatured SSRs is going to be 95%, right? So you have a 5% chance of pulling a featured unit, you have a 95% chance of pulling an unfeatured unit, right? This is pretty standard for most banners. It's actually a little less than 5%. It's like a 4.95%, but we round up to 5, right, for the purposes of this. It is a normal multi-summon, right? So we'll punch in the number of summons here in a second, and then we have to talk about the number of featured SSRs. So this is really going to calculate your chance of getting at least one of the characters you are interested in, right? So the more characters you need out of this banner, the higher likelihood it is you're going to pull something you need from this banner. But if you're only interested in the one character, obviously that's going to affect your rates a lot more. So we're not featured in any interested in any unfeatured SSRs. So let's just say we're only interested in the one featured SSR, right? Let's just say this, like, look, all we care about is getting the Vegeta-less blue. Well, let's say our number of summons, let's say we came into this celebration with 500 stones, because we spent everything on Golden Week and that was all that we could save up. So if we came in with 500 stones, that's 10 multi-summons right there. All right, if we calculate that out, that brings us to, there we go. Our chance of pulling one of the featured units is about 39% if we're just interested in one unit. I mean, it's not a great chance, right? In 10 multis, right? That's not a great chance. Like if it's just the one multi, right? Just so you can kind of see, right? 4.89, that's like the actual percent of pulling it. But in 500 stones and 10 multis, we have a chance. All right, we have a hang on, what did we do? Oh, that's what we did. We changed the wrong one here. Okay, 10. Here we go. There we go, 39% in 500 stones. Now, most of you hopefully have been listening to all of my stone savings guides, and you're bringing a lot more. So let's say you brought in 1,000 stones for this. So we're going to double that to 20 multis, right? So let's say you brought in 1,000 stones to this this banner. You've got 63%. So 63% likelihood that you will have gotten a usable unit that you wanted. Of course, you can always get shafted, but it just means the odds are greater in your favor the more you roll the dice. You're always going to have that general 5% chance with every multi, but the more times you roll the dice, 63% likelihood that in those times you will have received the one unit you are after. Now, some people are probably bringing a lot more. In fact, if you were to include all the stones from the celebration, you're probably going to come somewhere around 2,500 stones. Now, that number is incredibly important because of this right here. The new pity coin system, right? If you guys remember from Worldwide and the 10th anniversary, we have these special limited pity coins for specific to the new LRs. You can summon up to I think you need 500 coins in order to exchange for one of the new characters. So 500 coins, that's roughly 2,500 stones. So let's say you went all in, you did 2,500 stones worth of multis in order to get those. Of course, you may end up doing a little less to get the coins, especially if you have characters that you can trade in. But let's say you did another 2,500 stones. So we would double this to 2,500. We would double this to 40, and then another 10, right? So actually that's 50 multis. So you did 50 multis on this banners. What is the likelihood? So in 50 multis, you had, your likelihood of pulling the one new Vegeta or Rose, whichever one ends up being the Dokkan Fest, was 90%. So if you got that badly shafted that you missed that, overall 90% chance, then of course you've got the new coins here to save you. It's also worth noting that this campaign will also introduce finally the tickets that we can trade these summon points, and you should be able to get 90 points from both banners, so 180 points total to add into your summon points, which can be traded for these tickets here that can be used to be summoned on a banner with these featured characters here. 10th anniversary LRs, Carnivals, and recent Dokan Fest. These should be updated. It did mention that they will update characters, so it's possible they could add in the new character. Yeah, they should be able to add in new characters. It says that the specific list here is up to May 2025, but it does mention before that they will update the summon events regularly. So they could add new units as you go on into the next celebration or into Tanabata. They could add more units to this. So if you do get shafted even beyond that, you could just save for these. So something worth noting. So now, the Carnival banner is going to be a little bit different because the featured list is going to be different. So let's talk about that here. The Carnival banner is going to be a little bit different because it has to include all of the unfeatured LRs that are available. And this is why for many of you guys who summon on the Carnival banners, it feels like you're getting, it's a lot harder to pull units. Well, that's because the pool is bigger, right? If we look at the LRTN banner, you can see that the actual pool of characters is 352 possible SSR. So if we actually plug that number in, right? So let's go 306, 352. The percent fix is still fixed at just under 5%. All right, but there is a larger featured, unfeatured list that we have to sift through. So you'll see here that if we let's say, you know, just the one summon, right, it's still roughly the same number, that 5%, but with each roll there is more to sift through here for the unfeatured list. So again, if we were to dump 500 stones, if we came into, or you know, let's say 800, let's say you're someone, I've seen a few people posting in the Discord that they've got about 800 stones. So say you had 800 stones, so 500 is 10 multis, 800 another 3, so let's just go with an even 15 here. 54%, right? So roughly 54% in roughly 800 stones is what you're looking at. Again, 5% chance with each multi. That's like sort of the given, but it's just like, you know, the coin flip. The more you flip the coin, the more, you know, the more you're rolling that dice, the more likely you are to get what you want, especially if you're only interested in one of the major featured units here. Oh, why did that? Oh, that's why that's messing up. Okay, actually, let's come back. That really messes me up. Okay, so let's go, one unit. This should be the 15. Yeah, there we go. 52%. I knew it was like 50% still, but we were just slightly off. So around 50% for that much. So really good there. Sorry about the mistake on plugging the numbers in there, but the overall number there is still the same, roughly 52% in 15 multis. Again, the point being that the more you roll the dice, the more likely it is that you pull what you want off this banner. These are actually even better, right? Let's say you had like Tien and Cell Max that you were interested in as well, right? So let's just say there are 2 unfeatured units you are in. You also, you know, it's also pretty likely that you could, in that amount of stones, you could pull one of them as well. So just throwing that out there, that sometimes it does work pretty good on these Carnival banners, getting right some of these random unfeatured LRs that are here. Like the Carnival banner should have all the way up to TN if they update them. All right, so it should have TN, should have where is he? PyCon should be on here too, right? Yeah, PyCon should be on the banner. So if you miss them, right, there's a chance you could pull them on whoever the Carnival banner is. So guys, that is it for our video. I just wanted to take some time to kind of explain how the rates work. Again, you have a general 5% chance on every single banner, and this isn't confirmed in game. If you check the summon calculator, I know nobody actually ever looks at that, but if you actually check the rates on the banner itself, it tells you that there's a 5% chance on every single banner of pulling a featured unit, 95% chance of pulling an unfeatured unit. This is a given, but the more you roll the dice, the greater you stack the odds in your favor. And this is why I always do these stone saving guides up to this point, to set you guys up to have the most amount of stones coming into this. So hopefully you guys were following along in those videos and you did save your stones up to this point. So guys, that's it for the video. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and in the comments down below, let us know how many stones do you have for this worldwide or now global Dokkan celebration. How many stones are you bringing in? How much do you plan on summoning? And who do you plan on summoning on? Again, this is usually a video that we do once we know the kits and the details. We usually have a little bit more time, but this time we don't, because once the reveals drop later today, we have roughly 24 hours until those banners release. So not a whole lot of time like usual. So that's it for the video. If nothing else, thanks for watching. and aloha.